Those guys are established. I think that Danny, I'm going to give Danny Shelton a little tip of the hat. I think that's a guy who's really started to coach up the young guys in terms of our expectations, how we do things around here, the effort that we play with. You know, you can hear him kind of getting on some of those young guys in one-on-one pass rush about finishing the drill. And so I've really appreciated that. You know, I think Andrew Hudson's a guy who's played with a great deal of effort. You know, he's really done a good job of establishing himself as a guy that's consistently playing well for us. And so we've got a good group of about 5 guys that we can roll. We still kind of are trying to figure out that second group of guys. You know, we're going to probably travel 9 to 12 guys on the D-line. And so we've still got some really good battles going on with some of those guys that are sophomores, redshirt freshmen, and true freshmen.
And you talked about Danny being more of a vocal leader. I think it was a few days ago. He even kind of got on the cheerleaders up in the stands saying, "Is that all you got?" I mean, he just seems like he's really stepped up that aspect of his leadership as a senior.
You know, Danny, I think, has always had, you know, even watching him from afar and, you know, having good friends that were on the previous staff, he's always had a lot of energy. And now I think he's kind of matured and knows how to channel that in a real positive way. And I think that's a real credit to him to be able to take that step as a senior to realize, hey, you know, I can have fun without being funny. You know, I know when to push the right buttons and be serious and get these guys to lock in and focus and still be able to lighten the atmosphere and make sure that this isn't drudgery out here. We can still have a little bit of enjoyment.
And it seems like as much of a focal point as Danny is, it seems like Evan Hudson kind of gets lost a little bit in the mix, but he's really come along in just the year that he was kind of pushed in
for
there.
The things that we've asked that guy to do, you know, I mean, I think he was telling me, you know, his first start at defensive line was against Boise State last year. He played 75 snaps or something ridiculous like that. And so, you know, against an up-tempo offense. And so he's kind of, like you said, he's a very selfless guy. You know, he's a team guy. We ask him to eat up a lot of double teams. Isn't going to be a guy that's going to score a lot of stats or get his name in the paper a whole lot, but he does some of the dirty work so we keep the linebackers clean and work our games and let guys like Howard have one-on-ones.
And the other Hudson brother, he's come along since spring.
Yeah, Ebony and Ivory.
Yeah. What have you seen in him in terms of his taking kind of ownership of that kind of second chance for him?
Well, I think it's a really good way to look at it. One of the things that I remember him telling me last spring was, you know, he felt like last year, you know, he got a little discouraged and it was a little bit of a wasted year, and he realizes this is his last opportunity. And so, you know, you talk to Coach Saha and his staff, they pointed to him as the guy who had the best summer. You know, there's no mystery as to why he's performing at a high level right now. He put the work in the offseason. He understands this is his last opportunity to go play, and he wants to make sure that he has great memories about it. He gave everything he had.
Now, it's going to be kind of an interesting thing, but you look at Andrew Hudson's physical measurements, and they're the exact same as Jeff Lindquist's. Is he where you want him to be?
I think he knows that, you know, for him it's always going to be a struggle to carry that weight, but, you know, there's always one way to skin a cat. If he's master of his technique, he's going to be and understands backfield sets and can cheat a little bit here and there. That's what he's going to have to do, and I think he really understands it. He asks great questions in the meeting room. He's locked in, taking notes. You can see him going through his footwork mentally. When other guys are doing that, he's getting those mental reps in practice, and that's really carrying his game.
And just in terms of, I know you talked about Will Disley and maybe physically being ready. What is it about the other parts of his game? I think you mentioned how maybe smart he has been in picking things up. He sure looks like he's going to be a factor.
Yeah, he's a guy that can really replicate, take it from the film room to the practice field to the game situation very, very quickly. So if you're talking about specific footwork or you know, leverage that we want to maintain on a specific kind of block, he can see it and react to it very naturally. A lot of times that takes a ton of repetition, especially for those young guys living in that 6 inches in front of their face, where in high school maybe they've been allowed to turn it loose, and here we've got to be a little bit more detailed in terms of how we're playing different blocking schemes. And so he's been pretty impressive in terms of locking on to the techniques that we want and transitioning. Hey, this is what it looks like. This is how we do it. Now go. And he's locked onto that pretty quick.
And I know on Saturday it was interesting that a couple guys that came out with the very first team and were Joe Mathis and Jarrett Finau as well. What have you seen from them in the first couple of weeks to kind of get them in the mix?
Yeah, so those guys just didn't get a lot of reps in the first couple of weeks, and so that was kind of an opportunity to get them some game reps, let them play some extended downs, stress them a little bit physically, see how they responded, see if they maintained their composure and their poise, and also be assignment sound.